Live on all platforms officially. Just making sure that I'm waiting on one more to connect. But once that is connected, we will be live on all platforms. So good. Yep, there we go. Good evening, everyone that was able to join me tonight for our chat. There it is. I'm just making sure that I am able to see all comments and that I am able to see everyone that's joining us tonight. So, tonight is, I guess I can turn this music down because I'm just so used to the old way that I was doing things. So, I'm so excited to be back, honestly. Tonight is a really good discussion. And anyone that is joining me here on Clubhouse, definitely feel free to raise your hand and come on up and be an interactive part of this discussion. For those who are not familiar with who I am or have never been here before with me, I am your favorite life coach and certified sexologist, Kanya Ford, but you can call me Coach K. I have 2 dedications in my coaching practice. I work with women with understanding, acknowledging, and accepting their value, worth, and setting those personal boundaries. And I do this through self-love, accountability, and truly showing you how to own your sexuality. Because honestly, when you own your sexuality, you truly do, you show up differently in the world. But I also work with couples with getting the intimate literacy together, because many times we could be on the same page, really saying the same thing, but we're just missing the mark because we may not understand each other's love language, what we're trying to express, or what we're trying to get over. And so tonight's discussion, I started it a little bit earlier because I always like to get some feedback from couples. So I am in a group and I put the feelers out there. I just asked the question, hey, tell me what you think about masturbation while married. And the responses, I will honestly say, were very varied. There were people who were, yeah, I'm all for it. I think that it's awesome. You should just do it. All the way to what I pretty much expected, which were the it's a sin, you shouldn't do it, and this is what the Bible said. That's always going to be a thing, quite frankly, is the what someone gets from the religious side of it versus the humanistic side of it and interpretations and all that good stuff. I'm not here to go into anyone's good book. I am here to truly just talk about this topic. The reason why I started the Sex, Love, and Marriage, which will be a weekly live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on the platform that you're able to see it on now. And if you have to catch the replay, definitely hit hashtag replay and share your thoughts with us, because the video will live forever on YouTube and on my Facebook page, on Instagram, as well as my private Sex, Love, and Marriage Facebook group. This is a huge and important topic because in the space of intimacy, we automatically, mind goes to sex. But we don't open our minds to what that sex looks like. How big and how vast and how wide does that experience get in the marital bedroom? Where are the boundaries, if there are to be boundaries, within the marital space? And again, anyone that's joining me here on Clubhouse, absolutely feel free to come on up and join the discussion. And hello to everyone that is joining me on Instagram as well as on Facebook. Thank you guys for coming on back. I'm happy to kick this series back off with this amazing topic, which is masturbation in marriage. And so the post that I put up earlier is about 8 hours ago, and last I checked, we had over 300 comments about it. And, you know, some people were going back and forth. So let me start with the basics. What is masturbation? Well, it is the stimulation of the genitals with the hand for sexual pleasure. Let's even take that up to another notch where sometimes items are added to this stimulation. And I have, of course, these bots that are on YouTube. So if you see me pausing a little bit, it's because I am live on YouTube, and many times bots like to comment on there. So I have to just ban those and ignore those. So forgive me. When it comes to the marital bedroom, in my opinion, it absolutely should be a space of openness and exploration to the comfort level of of both parties. And so when I talk about masturbation in marriage, the comments that I was seeing earlier were spoken as if this were of single people. And I'm speaking about the people who were, bringing the Bible into things and how it should be, and one shouldn't do X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. And then some people would go so far as to say, well, I just think it's weird that someone would masturbate and they have a whole husband or a whole wife that can satisfy them. And to that, I would say there are many things that are weird, honestly. Some people could look at a heterosexual marriage or monogamous marriage or a same-sex marriage as weird because they don't understand it. There are a lot of aspects of quote unquote weirdness that's going on that's not in our house. We're going to call it weird because we don't understand it. Or we're just going on the premise of what we were told without actually exploring it for ourselves. That becomes a huge problem inside of the marital space. We have to, and I'm really hitting this home, we really have to open up our minds bigger than the way that we were brought up and bigger than the things that we were told, and even some of the things that we may have seen of a marriage. Because if you saw something as a child in a marriage, it is more than likely that you saw it from the outside looking in, meaning that you don't know everything that happened between the two parties that were in that marital space, and or a counselor or coach who may have been a party or privileged to that information. And so you have to be okay with coming out of that space and bringing that into the marital bedroom. So if your partner were to say to you, hey, this is something I want to explore, masturbation. If y'all hear me pause here on Clubhouse, I got a drink that I'm sipping on to make sure that my mouth is not dry while I'm talking to you. And so if your partner brings that to you, hey, I would love to explore masturbation with you. Or I would love to watch you or have you watch me, because that may be something that they enjoy, and you scowl at it like, ew, based on how you were raised or what you were told or your preconceived notion of what masturbation actually is. That can automatically be a trigger to your partner to be, fearful of bringing new things to you. In my professional and personal opinion, I will honestly say that there is, in the marital bedroom, no things should be off limits for exploration to the comfort of both parties. I host a quarterly Intimate Moments Academy where it is premised on sex, sex, sharing, experiencing, and x-raying. And inside of that space, we actually create charts that on the second day, the couples explore those charts. Honestly, and Anyone, again, please feel free to raise your hand and come up and be a part of the stage here on Clubhouse. Anyone who is here on Facebook or Instagram, please feel free to drop your comments there. How are you doing? The Purpose Professor here on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. Definitely drop your comments or questions there in the audience, in the chat, so that we can read them out. I can keep them anonymous if I need to. But when it comes to masturbation, we should not look at it as a selfish act. And that is absolutely some of the comments that I saw, is you should not masturbate because you're withholding from your partner. Well, it could be that your partner actually would love to engage in this act with you. One of the things that I would talk to some of the couples that I coach is about mirroring and mirroring masturbation. What this does inside of your relationship is it really gives you insight. If you're able to see your partner interact with their own body using their own hands, meaning they know those areas that feel good, they know the areas that don't feel so good. You can watch facial expressions. You can watch body language. You can look at and pay attention to their breathing pattern. You can truly learn a lot from your partner sexually by simply watching them masturbate. And thus, it is also creating and building a bond between you and your partner. And it's what I like to call a trust bond. And what I mean by that is when we get together, there are levels of trust that we want to put into each other. And without even knowing it, there are many times that we break trust and we don't know. It could be, I said I was going to be home at this time. I got held up, but I didn't call, so I came in late. Okay, that's a little bit of chip away at the trust. Nothing intentional, but it is what it is. We weren't brought up in the same household. We met later on in life. We may have been through some things. And so those little things kind of chip away at trust. So whenever you're able to engage in an activity that could potentially build layers of trust, that's what you want to do. How does this build trust? Think about this. Number one, sex alone is a very delicate, important, and intimate act. And so when we allow our partner to come into us, or we go into our partners, we are trusting them with our body, which is the only thing in this world that is yours. You don't pay taxes on it. You don't have to, turn it in at the end of the night. That is the one thing that is yours. And so you are trusting your partner with your body. And so when you're able to perform activities that your partner is able to say, oh, wow, this person must really trust me, that they are allowing themselves and me to engage in this new place. Everyone has not masturbated before. And that's just a fact. You have people that have never been comfortable with touching themselves. And some people have done it so much that, they can pull over on the side of the road in a car if they felt stressed and just, de-stress really quickly. So suppose those two people met, they fall in love. And so you have this one person who is like, hey, these hands can get this body anytime, or this body can get these hands anytime, right? And then you meet this other person who's like, oh my gosh, why would you touch yourself? I just think that is so gross. I don't know anything about this. Ew, ew, ew. So you have these two opposite people. And so what Handsy would have to do is build trust enough to speak to their partner, to ask them questions of, can you tell me why this is not something that you would engage in? Can you tell me why you think that it's, gross? Or are you ashamed of it? Have you ever even thought of it? These are questions that we need to be open to asking each other without going into immediate defense mode. Being asked a question should not put you on defense. Being asked a question should be very insightful for you to understand that your partner is trying to figure you out. They're trying to learn more about this person that they met as an adult, who was not raised in the same home as them, who have not practiced the same habits as them. So they're asking so they can understand. So if your partner says, hey, can you tell me why you feel like masturbation is nasty? Or can you tell me why this is not a practice that you would want to engage in? They're truly trying to understand where your comfort level is. Is this something that you may have seen on TV and you were always told that it's dirty or you should be shameful, that you should never, what is it? Or is it just, no one ever told you anything negative about it. The thought of it just grosses you out. Simple as that. Well, when you're able to answer those questions for your partner, that gives both of you the opportunity to walk towards a place where either you can say, you know what? You told me about it. I've watched you do it. I'm not comfortable doing it myself. But right now, I just don't think that that's something I want to engage in. That doesn't mean that that's where the conversation stops, but it also does not mean keep asking me every day until I say yes. What that means is that may be something that is on hold for us to table for right now until maybe we get further into our marriage or into our relationship to a place where I am a little more comfortable. Because here's a reality. Just because you married this person does not mean that you're 100% comfortable with who you are in your body with them. And so masturbation is such a personal and intimate self-loving act that you want to understand it. And so here on Instagram, we have a comment that says, it also doesn't mean they will never get comfortable with it. Exactly. That's something that maybe it can come up later, because I'll tell you, I've been with my husband we've been married almost 17 years, and we've been together for almost 19 years, maybe a little bit over that. And in that span of time, we have gotten to a place of comfort that we communicate about all of that. But someone who may be a year, 5 years, 7 years, even 10 years in, they may not still be comfortable having sexual oriented conversations, especially as it pertains to masturbation. For the most part, masturbation has been looked at as this shameful act of selfishness and self-gratitude that the mind sometimes cannot come out of that thought enough to recognize that it's an awesome measure of foreplay for couples. 1,000%. If you think about other acts of foreplay, it could be kissing, it could be hugging, it could be rubbing, it could be touching. So why not be touching yourself, kind of revving your engine up, showing your partner kind of those areas that they may potentially miss as a foreplay act to the grand finale. Now let's look at it like this. Sometimes masturbation in marriage is absolutely necessary for reasons outside of anyone's control. Let's think about when childbirth happens. There is a 6 to 8 and sometimes more period of time where sex and traditional intercourse may not be able to happen. So does that mean that one partner just, hey, you're just asked out? You can't get none. You need to hold it all in, right? Well, why should that have to be a thing when there are alternatives such as masturbation? So here on Facebook, we have, it is considered masturbation if your partner is involved. It is if you're mirroring. So when I say having your partner there, they're not, well, they absolutely can, if it's because it's stimulation of the genitals with the hand for sexual pleasure. So you can absolutely masturbate each other. So, and that's the thing, like, we don't really think about this. So that is a great question. I appreciate you for asking that. It's because what we typically think of, it's you going off in a corner or off in the bathroom or wherever you're going to go by yourself, and you're just want to get it off real quick. Or picking up an item or object or a toy or whatever to stimulate yourself and getting yourself off real quick. Absolutely. But again, with your partner, it could be you touching yourself while your partner watch. Could be an amazing thing. So let's think about that childbirth scenario. And, a woman absolutely may still have needs. She may not be able to be penetrated, but the act of watching her partner could arouse her enough that then maybe clitoral stimulation can happen. But how about this? That is a stress reliever for this new mom who may be, sexually frustrated, who may be sleep deprived, who may not be able to actually engage in intercourse, but they actually want to. So there's so many amazing benefits and positive notes around masturbation inside of a marriage that we want to start looking at the positivity that it can bring to your marriage. What I believe is the most difficult part of this whole thing is bringing up the conversation. When I talk with the couples that I coach, and yes, I do coach couples in this space quite often, it's how do I bring this up without them feeling like they don't satisfy me? How do I not make my partner feel less than for maybe wanting to do this extra act, without realizing that I've grown such a bond with my partner that my exploration mind has opened up to a new level, and this is something new that I just want to try with them. I enjoy seeing the pleasure on their face when I do X, Y, and Z, and so I would love to be able to see them give that pleasure to themselves. So we talked about your childbirth thing. Another medical thing that could happen is, say, someone gets injured and intercourse is not an option. Say someone has a new medical diagnosis and the medication that they have does not allow them to fulfill their full duties with their partner. Thinking about high blood pressure and being on blood pressure medication. Sometimes that blood pressure medication does not allow for your partner to fully perform for you. And so just like the other way around, with childbirth, is the guy supposed to just be asked out? So now, because, your partner is on high blood pressure medication and they can't hold an erection, are you just supposed to be asked out? That's where we take out the selfish aspect of the whole thing, and we use that alternative, i.e., being able to be open to that masturbation. So again, welcome anyone to, if you're here in Clubhouse, to definitely come on up and be a part of the discussion. If you are on Instagram or you are on Facebook or YouTube watching live, definitely feel free to leave a comment behind. Or if you're watching this replay, hashtag replay and share your thoughts with us. Because when I do my lives, I'm not here to be right. I'm just here to be heard. And a lot of times I'm here to get the conversation started. And so if this is something that you have been thinking about, you want to explore with your partner, definitely feel free. Hey, play this video. Maybe they walk in the room, you'd be like, hey, this video was on, and I think this is a great discussion that we can have. Because again, a lot of times the hardest part is starting the conversation. I love to say to women, you have two sets of lips. You have to be okay with opening these the same way that you're quickly to open the other ones, okay? Men, you as well. You don't have two sets of lips, but you have to be okay with not being afraid to ask for and being able to explore with your partner. And yes, sometimes it can be difficult. It can be, hard. I work with couples who may have had some communication barriers in the past, but when we sit and with that third party coaching, being able to get that, like I talked about earlier, that intimate literacy, so that you each are understanding the conversation around masturbation versus you just want to get one off, or maybe they're saying to you, I just want to explore more with you. So if you're having difficulties getting that conversation started, definitely please feel free to reach out and get your session scheduled with me. I can do one-on-one with just you. I also do sessions with couples to speak about this, get the conversation started, because as time goes on, you want to be open to different modes of sexual pleasure with not just the body, but with the mind. I want you to really think about when you see your partner's face when they're in that mode of pleasure, how much pleasure it actually gives you. When your partner is pleasing themselves, they're also learning about their bodies, and thus they're able to tell you more about what pleases them, and that gives you more insight and vice versa. So let's stop looking at masturbation in marriage as a selfish act. Now, let's flip the coin. If masturbation in marriage is being used to avoid sexual contact with your partner, or to a point where it seems like it's going into an addictive place, I really do push you to seek a licensed professional for that. If it looks like an addictive place you're going, that is not my wheelhouse at all when it comes to any type of addiction. But when it comes to avoidance, if it seems like your partner is using this in an abusive way where they would prefer to masturbate versus being with you, then I definitely welcome you to reach out so we can get to that root. Because it may be something that is a disconnect somewhere along the line that happened, that now this person would rather just satisfy themselves versus being intimate and having sexual relations with you. Anytime masturbation gets to a point where it is used as an avoidance tactic or it is excessive, you want to be able to get to the root cause of that and not ignore it, for sure. But my goal is to at least talk and have this open conversation, get you to have this open conversation with your partner. I also welcome you guys to head over to Amazon and get your copy of the 5 Characteristics of a Stimulating Relationship. One of the 5 pillars that I speak about in this book is about exploration. We have to be open to exploring with ourselves and with our partners in order to have that healthy, thriving, ongoing, stimulating relationship. We have to be able to take the negatives out of everything that we may have been brought up with and find the positivity in it. Masturbation is a beautiful, natural act. I'll always say this. If God didn't want you to touch yourselves, He wouldn't have made your arms this long to be able to reach all areas of your body. You would have little tiny arms like this. So I thank you all for spending some time with me tonight. I want to welcome you to come back on next Tuesday, where we will have an additional topic, because this room is here every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Instagram, my Facebook page, as well as my private Facebook group, Sex, Love, and Marriage. You can come on over and join that. Next week on Tuesday, February 8th, I will be talking about hugs, loves, or gifts. What does Valentine's Day mean to you? This is open to married, single folks. All of my discussions are open for everyone. So definitely make sure you come back and join me. And if you have any questions about tonight's topic, please feel free to reach out to me. You can either message me or you can email me at info@loveandintimacy101.com. And for anyone who wants to explore masturbation, but they're not quite comfortable doing so, I want you to check out the 5 Steps to Mastering Masturbation course that I have available for you. If you send me a message, I will get you the clickable link. It is just 5 basic steps that gets you to a place of comfort in the masturbation realm. Again, I thank you all for joining me this evening, and I will see you back here on Tuesday for Sex, Love, Marriage with a new topic. Also, if you follow me on any of my platforms, I will be Bringing Intimacy Back is a podcast that I am a co-host on, and we are here every Thursday at 3 p.m. Look up Bringing Intimacy Back and see some of those discussions that we've already had. And while you're here on my page, if you're here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like the page so you can always get notified when I go live. Same way on Instagram and on Facebook. Again, thank you all, and I will see you guys next week. Have a good night and go masturbate with your partner.